Okay. Hello and welcome to Dead by Daylight Character Spotlight. I'm here today with MrsSuperHands. Say hello, MrsSuperHands.
Hello, MrsSuperHands.
And today we're going to be talking about the Trapper, who is one of the first killers you unlock and arguably one of the easiest killers and also really, really satisfying. So, character bio of the Trapper then. His story goes that Evan McMillan idolised his father. It wasn't just that he was heir to a great fortune, it was the way he ran the estate. Raised under his firm hand, Evan had taken to running the workforce with an iron fist. Production was always high and the McMillan estate prospered under father and son. As Archie McMillan's mental health slowly degenerated, Evan protected him from the herd who wanted a piece of his fortune. No matter what his father asked of him, Evan would do. When Archie McMillan finally snapped, Evan became his enforcer in what would become known as the worst mass murder in modern history. They never proved that Evan led over 100 men into those dark tunnels before detonating the explosives and sealing them to their fate. The tale of the McMillan estate is a tale of wealth and power gone very wrong. How many victims fell to the hands of father and son is unknown. No record was ever made of what became of Evan McMillan. His father is another unsolved puzzle found in the basement of his own warehouse, dead and abandoned.
Ooh.
Okay, so now for the killer's vital statistics. He moves at 4.6 meters per second, which is quite fast for a killer, and he has a 32 meter terror radius, which is his heartbeat radius. He's also rather large. He's a tall killer. So unlike survivors, who can equip different items to modify their abilities in different ways, the killers only have one fixed power and modify that with add-ons, depending on what they want to do. The Trapper's power, unsurprisingly, is a bear trap. A large foothold trap made of steel, traps are found lying around the area waiting to be picked up and set anywhere. By default, you start the trial with one bear trap. You find and collect more throughout the environment. A set bear trap will immobilize and incapacitate any player that steps on it. A healthy survivor that steps in a set bear trap will also become injured, but may attempt to escape the trap. It's also important to note that the Trapper can simply grab a survivor out of a bear trap if they haven't freed themselves, without having to down them first. You can reset traps that have already been triggered, and you can just randomly pick up bear traps and move them to a different location even if they've been set, so you can bamboozle the survivors. It's also worth noting that while you're carrying a survivor, if you're foolish enough to tread in one of your own bear traps, it will trap your leg and you will drop the survivor.
The Trapper's downfall.
Yes, that. Okay, so on to the Trapper's unique perks. Now, as always, when we're talking about teachable perks, we're only giving you the statistics for the level 1 perk, and these will increase as they're leveled up. So, the Trapper's first perk is Unnerving Presence. Your presence alone instills great fear. Survivors within your terror radius have a 10% greater chance of triggering skill checks when repairing, healing, or sabotaging. Triggered skill checks success zones are reduced by 40%. Small skill checks and more often skill checks. Great perk.
Yeah. As a survivor, it's quite a hard perk to play against, particularly as a survivor who can get a bit panicky when you start hearing the terror radius. To then start getting more skill checks and to have a smaller skill check zone is a bit like That's basically how the entire play goes against Unnerving Presence for me.
That is true. The thing with Unnerving Presence, though, is that when you're at the very edge of the killer's terror radius, you might not, as a survivor, necessarily hear his heartbeat straight away, and you instantaneously get the debuff of Unnerving Presence as soon as he crosses the distance threshold, so you will see that little debuff pop up, and that might give you a split second more time than you would have had.
Yeah, it's definitely helped me like that before. There have been numerous times when I've thought, is that the heartbeat? Can I hear it? But actually, that's a really good visual indication that actually they're on their way. You need to be going somewhere.
It's also really good in those situations that MrsSuperHands is so fond of, when the survivor just will not let go of that generator and they've got it 99%ed and they just need that last skill check and they need to do it before the killer gets there and they can drop that Ginny right in his face. But it makes it a lot harder to do, especially when the killer's bearing down on you as well.
Yeah, killer bearing down on you, smaller skill check, more likely to get a skill check. You're at 99%, then you fail the skill check. It's a sad time.
Yeah, it's definitely a really good perk for helping to apply that pressure, and with a decent sized terror radius anyway, it works quite nicely with the Trapper. The Trapper's next unique perk is Brutal Strength. Your great strength allows you to shred through your prey's defences, destroy dropped pallets, breakable walls, and generators 10% faster. This is a great perk for the simple fact that it can help you win those chases. When you're chasing a survivor and they drop pallets, it's normally a big lead boost for them, but if you've got Brutal Strength, particularly at maximum level, you can just walk up to that pallet and shred straight through it and get back on their tail straight away. It really removes one of the most powerful tools that the survivors have at their disposal.
I think it also has a good effect on the first person versus third person viewpoint of killer versus survivor. Because when you're breaking a pallet or breaking a wall or breaking a generator, as a killer you've got that first person view, so you've got survivors who can be running around you getting away, whereas if that's quicker they're less likely to be able to get out of your eyesight.
Yeah, that's true. When you're performing the break action, you don't actually have camera control, so when you're breaking a pallet, kicking a generator, anything like that, you're forced to look down at what you're doing, so the survivors can slip out of your eye line, put some angles between you and them, and perhaps get a bit of an advantage in their chase. But if you do that faster, your vision's impaired for less time, you can reacquire them a lot easier. Finally, we've got Agitation. You get excited in anticipation of hooking your prey. It increases your movement speed while transporting bodies by 6%. While transporting a body, your terror radius is increased by 12 meters. Now this is a really good perk because not only does it help you get to those hooks faster when you've got a survivor on your shoulder, reducing the chances that they're going to wiggle out and get away, it also means that you can occasionally do the unthinkable. You can hit a survivor on the way to a hook. Survivors are never prepared for you to chase them with a survivor on your shoulder, and this at max level gives you a big boost to an already very fast movement speed. Let's not forget that all killers are inherently faster than survivors to begin with, and the Trapper is a fast killer. So while you're carrying a survivor, being even faster than that really lets you close that gap. And some survivors will try and flashlight save, they'll try and body block you or drop pallets. They won't be expecting you to go after them with a survivor on your shoulder. And you can easily close that gap, get a free hit in on the survivor before you hook the one that you're currently carrying, and that really increases pressure. Not to mention the fact that this increases your terror radius, which synergizes really, really well with Unnerving Presence, because you've got even more area affected by that perk.
I think it's important as well in terms of the movement speed when you're transporting bodies. If you know that the basement is fairly nearby, this definitely gives you a much increased likelihood of actually being able to get there. The number of times that we've managed to wiggle out of a killer's grasp because they've tried to get us to the basement and haven't quite made it, a perk like Agitation's just going to give you that boost that you need to get there.
Yeah, that's true, and it is quite a big nail in the coffin if you manage to get a survivor down into the basement. It's really a lot harder to rescue someone from the basement than it is from just a random hook on the map, definitely. Plus, it can allow you to head in the general direction of where you know the rest of the survivors are to get that hook and then immediately be on them, rather than having to hook someone and then spend more time traversing the map. Okay, here we are with the Trapper ready to try and get the Adept achievement. Now we only have level 1 Unnerving Presence and level 1 Brutal Strength, but we have level 3 Agitation, and this is a good demonstration of how that perk scales up, because the base level is movement speed increase of 12%, whereas now we have 18 because it's level 3. It's important to note though that the terror radius increase is a flat 12 meters, it doesn't change. Of course, we're not going to bring a fourth perk because we're doing the Adept challenge, and so we're only allowed the base perks of this particular killer.
It's interesting to note that when you're doing an Adept killer challenge, you have to get 2 gold and 2 iridescent emblems, whereas when you're playing as a survivor, all you have to do is survive. So you can play really badly as a survivor, but as long as you manage to get out that gate or get out of that hatch, you can still earn the Adept challenge achievement. Whereas when you're playing as a killer, you have to actually play to a degree of goodness.
That is a true story, yeah.
Have fun.
Okay, in terms of add-ons then, I'm going to modify my ability to plant bear traps by using a tar bottle to make them considerably darker in the environment, which will make it a lot more likely that survivors are going to tread in those bear traps to begin with.
Excellent choice.
And I'm also going to bring a trapper bag, which lets me start with an extra bear trap and allows me to carry 2 rather than just 1.
Very good.
In terms of offering, I think I'm just going to bring a random points offering, something like a Deviousness Devout Raven. Sounds good to me. Okay, so here we are in the killer lobby. As you can see, I can see the survivors and what they're bringing in, and it looks like we've only got 1 med kit coming in, so that's quite nice. Let's do some murder.
I love murder.
Only 1 other offering from a survivor, and it was a secret one. Interesting.
Oh. Maybe they'll all start together.
Yeah, something like a Shroud of Union, Vigo Shroud, something like that. Something to affect their positioning, probably. Ooh, Badham Preschool.
Interesting. So it's outside, which is better for movement.
A couple of little twisty-turny pathways for me to drop bear traps in as well.
And it's dark as well. You can tell that it's much darker than they usually are.
True. Begin at the beginning, just walking around putting bear traps out in key places, such as little jumps that the survivors enjoy going through. Bear traps are amazing for breaking loops, stopping the survivors from getting those little nooks and crannies that they love so much.
A good thing about this map as well is there's quite a lot of grass.
Ah, failed skill check.
Lots of bushes and lots of bushes where you can put traps.
True.
Particularly
Like
coupled with
here,
the,
for example.
particularly coupled with the tar bottle. That's basically invisible.
Yeah.
I like the way you put that in the grass rather than under the pallet.
Yeah, definitely. That Jake thinks he's invisible. Hello, you're gonna drop a pallet on me? It'd be a shame if I had brutal strength.
Ooh, speedy. We're gonna play loopy loops. Oh, that is speedy.
Oh, there's a Bill here as well. Wonderful.
I think there's a Claudette as well, I might have seen.
Hey, Bill. Are we playing? No? Okay. Hello, sunshine. Run into a trap.
Oh, just. That's very good. Well,
Nice
never
try.
mind. He obviously thought he was looping you and just...
Yeah.
failed.
Well, that would have been a great loop for him.
But unfortunately not, Bill.
Look at how fast I'm moving as well. You can stay there. Now, I'm not going to put a bear trap at the top of the
She's gone down.
basement step. Oh, really, Fang? Really? No, son.
Beautiful. Excellent grab, well done. That is where agitation came into play, because if it hadn't gone so quickly, wouldn't have seen her at the corner of the screen.
The thing is, like when survivors drop down or perform a landing of any kind, it gives a little noise cue, and I heard just a little grunt, so I turned and saw her there. And also, she made a big mistake, which was just unhooking a survivor right in front of the killer, giving me an opportunity to interrupt her action and get the free grab.
Yeah, sandbagging. We don't like it.
We do not like sandbagging, that's true. Let's see what else. I haven't been over to the other side of the map in quite a while. Ooh, never mind. They've been rescued. This is going to be fun. Hello, morsels.
Morsels, nice.
Really? Really, Bill? No. No.
Oh, Bill's not using his brain.
Like, right in front of me. He just jumped in right in front of me.
Is he new or is he cocky?
Well, I don't know.
He must have just hit struggle. Sucks to be Bill. This is a good way to start. One generator done. One survivor dead.
Yeah, I don't like to tunnel people, but that was just a gift.
That was his own fault, though. That was entirely because he decided that it would be a good idea to get into a locker. I think maybe he thought that you were going for Fang or for Jake.
Well, my initial plan was to go for the Jake because I'd
Yeah.
already hooked the Fang and the Bill, and I
Yeah.
don't like to sort of ruin people.
Because you're nice.
But yeah, no, he just decided to be very silly. This is good. One survivor dead, a hook on the Fang, and they've only done one generator.
That's what I just said. You can put both your ears in, it's not a problem.
It's harder to interact with you.
Clearly, because you don't hear all the good things I say. Really?
Fang.
For goodness
I'm
sake.
gonna pretend I haven't seen the Fang.
Alright,
Pick the generator, walk over here. I'm just a brainless killer. Don't know where anyone is. Hey, Fang!
the problem is that generator is now a target. If you keep going back to it, then the killer is obviously going to come back to it. This is what always surprises me when you see survivors going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. There's a... there.
Foolish!
As we mentioned before, you can absolutely trap yourself in your own trap, so be careful.
Shut up. Right, they dropped another Jenny. That's less good. Why am I not in a chase? Give me my chase
She's
points.
running
Hey,
to... I was
Claudie.
going to say, she's running their way because she's stupid.
Yeah, you see, the Claudie really wanted me there. No. Drop the pallet on me. No, sir.
Don't go through there.
I believe that she's got 2 hooks left in her. I'm not sure if she went into struggle or not, but we'll find out.
I
Look
don't
how
think-
fast I am!
I don't think she quite
Good, I don't
She's
feel bad
struggle
about it.
now.
Where's the Claudie? Oh!
Immediate.
Insta-save. Okay.
I must say, it's been quite a while since you've played Killer, so your ranking will have gone down. So I wonder if we're maybe playing with some newer players who kind of
Yeah.
don't really know the etiquette of the game, don't realise that you're not supposed to sandbag people.
Gonna leave the Fang alone because that Claudie's just kind of ruined the game. What?!
That was impressive.
Are you actually serious, Claudette? That was less impressive.
That was. She must have just seen it.
No, she's going in the basement because agitation is going to let me easily get her down there. Haven't even had to take survivors a very long way, to be honest, to get them there. Because they keep going for the Killer Shack Jenny, which is a very dangerous Jenny.
Well, that's
still
it.
regressing.
This is what I don't understand. Is if you know that the killer's gone back to that generator a couple of times, you don't want to do it. I find if the killer comes and kicks a generator, it does not make sense to then start doing it straight away just in case they come back.
Yeah, I mean, I like to run surveillance as well, which is a great perk for that. Oh dear. It's bad times for you, Jake.
And there's a hook right here. So you've hooked everybody now, which is great.
Yeah.
And you only have... Fang?
What?
Who's not hooked right now? She's the only one.
Yeah, and she's on the last hook as well. If I were her, I'd be going back in for the basement one because she knows that I've been over there hooking Jake. So I'm just going to go and check the basement now.
No,
no,
she's
she's
gone
gone
to
and
heal
healed.
herself. Which, you know, if you're on your last hook, I kind of understand. They've both got time.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested if, as a... Oh!
You went for the
She went for
Jake.
the Jake save.
Interesting. Right there.
What I was going to say was if they're newer killers, I would have been interested to see if maybe she hung around a little bit for the hatch.
Newer survivors, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's, you know, it's interesting that she went for the person who had more time on the hook left.
Ooh, dear. Jake, having a bad day. Okay, so He's been rescued. Jake got trapped over here somewhere. So they're all in this section of the map, probably.
Probably
They're
working on that
bleeding,
bloody generator.
whining. Yes. It's the Fang. Sorry, Fang, the time has run out. Break this. No loot for you. I assume she's going to pop out here. Hello.
Yep.
And that is the end of the... Oops. Fucking hell, that was a big struggle. Hey. Bye, Fang. Who's tripping my traps? Oh, a teabag! Oh, Claudette. You did not just teabag me. You did not just teabag me. 60 me, sir. No, no.
There's just no need for it.
Were you trying to loop me around the killer shack? It'd be a shame if someone broke that loop with a trap, wouldn't it? No!
Bet you feel silly now. I hate seeing survivors teabag killers.
Oh, if a survivor teabags me, that's it. I see red and they die.
It's just enraging, and it's not really necessary. Like, your job as the killer in
Oh,
this
Jake.
game.
Oh, Jake.
Oh dear.
She's just having a bad day. Well, that's a 4K.
Yay! Well done.
Yes.
Anyway.
Whoa. No wiggling. Stop wiggling.
Your job as the killer is to kill everybody. Like, there's no need for people to be hostile about it.
True. Yes, food for the entity. Good.
Please don't eat me. Have some people.
Merciless victory. And there we are.
Yes! Congratulations.
And that is Adept Trapper, ladies and gentlemen. And a daily ritual.
Points, 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 points.
Okay, so now that we've done the Adept Trapper achievement, it's time to discuss better ways where we can improve the Trapper's playstyle. What is the Trapper's playstyle? Well, the idea, as with all killers, is to keep that pressure up on the survivors. And the way that the Trapper does that is to shut off areas of the map so he can be more present in other areas by using his traps. And he breaks the loops that the survivors would use to prolong those chases to buy their friends time by using his traps. In the last game, for example, that Claudette was trying to loop me around the killer shack. I simply dropped a trap next to the window, broke the loop, she couldn't do it, and she was forced to run away from the safety of the building. Now, a great little combo that we can do with one of the Trapper's main perks, Brutal Strength, is to also apply Enduring, which is a hillbilly perk. Enduring at level 1 gives you resistance to pain and reduces the duration of pallet stuns by 40%, and that's just at level 1. That means you really don't need to be afraid of pallets at all, because not only can you shred through them when they're dropped, you don't need to worry about swinging through those pallets and maybe getting a pallet dropped on you, because you can simply ignore the stun, break the pallet really quickly, and be back in the chase straight away. Now, I don't have Enduring on my Trapper at the moment because I haven't spent enough blood points on him to have all the perks, basically. So we're not going to do that particular combination, but it's worth bearing in mind. Another great combination that works really well with the Survivor's core perks is Unnerving Presence with Distressing, which is a generic killer perk. Now, Distressing increases your terror radius by 22% at level 1 and gives you double blood points in the Deviousness category. And it's important to mention that the Deviousness category includes points from trapping survivors in your bear traps, which, if you're playing well, is what you want to do. Obviously, that synergy with Unnerving Presence to affect more of the map is just wonderful, and it really applies more pressure to survivors, particularly at lower levels where they find it harder to hit those smaller skill checks. Again, we don't have distressing on my trapper in its current build, so we're going to change up this build a little bit. There's also great synergy between Brutal Strength and Pop Goes the Weasel, which knocks generators back more quickly when you kick them, and obviously Brutal Strength is going to let you do that kick quicker. So if you're focusing on getting back to those generators and getting them regressing with Pop Goes the Weasel after hooking a survivor, then Brutal Strength is going to help you do that. However, it's not the best combination because it relies on you getting that hook before you can get that bonus damage on the generator. Another great synergy with Brutal Strength is one of the Plague's perks, which is Corrupt Intervention, which uses the entity spikes to block 3 generators the furthest from you on the map when you first start the game for 2 minutes, which can give you that little bit of bonus time just to get your first few traps set up and stop the survivors dropping that first generator before you've got your plans in place. Now, being as we have less perks than ideally we'd like unlocked on this version of the Trapper, I'm going to ignore all the meta perks and we're going to go for Bamboozle, which is another cloud perk. And what it does is it lets you vault 5% faster at level 1, and when you vault something, i.e. climb through a window, etc., the entity blocks that window, so it's yet another way for the killer to break those loops, catch those survivors when you get into a chase. Combo that with the agitation for greater move speed, the ability to smash those jennies down and break those pallets quicker, and the added pressure of unnerving presence, and I think we should be on to a winner.
I don't know a lot about killer perks, but Bamboozle is definitely a good one to use against a survivor that's got a perk like Lithe, where you get a speed boost once you have vaulted a window. That's a really good way to sort of escape from a killer, and if the killer's got Bamboozle, then that's going to make your escape a lot more difficult.
Yeah, that's a true story. And combo that with the ability to use traps and things to block those vaults, block those pallets, it really shuts down their options. Like, experienced survivors always run with a plan. They look for the vaults, they look for the pallets in the little juky corners where they can 360 the killer or loop the killer. Bamboozle really helps shut that down. Combo that with an already great kit for shutting down those loops. Should be good.
Yeah.
In terms of offerings, I'm going to take in the same offerings as before because that worked pretty well and it's one of my favourite kits. And again, we're just going to stick a random points offering on. I think we're going to go for a Shrike Wreath this time for sacrifice bonus blood. Okay, pretty standard looking lobby. We've got 3 different toolboxes to go against. I'm half tempted to swap on Franklin's Demise to knock those items out of their hands, but we're going to stick with our plan. Let's do this. Auto Haven Wreckers. Okay.
Lots of grassy areas where you can put down your dark traps.
Indeed, indeed. Let's see what we can find. Lock this vault first and foremost. Ooh, people failing skill checks already. Lovely.
Nice and close by as well.
Yes. What's you there? What the hell? Ah. Lost it for a second now. Okay. Oh, Bill. Okay. Fine, we'll chase you instead. I saw the meg out the corner of my eye there. Hello, chicken.
It's those first person disadvantages, isn't it?
Yeah.
That cooldown.
I'm very wary about where that Bill is.
I think she knows what she's doing. And run.
No, we're good. X movement speed with agitation. Block this. And unfortunately they dropped a Jenny, which is not very good. But we'll give this one a swift kick in case Bill's gone back to it. And get their trap in the grass next to it. Might get someone. Oh, hello. Another meg. No. Right, the Bill's healed. And the Meg's going to try and loot me, so we'll just block this with Bamboozle. Oh dear, did you want that window? You did, didn't you? That's a shame.
You're a bit silly, aren't you?
I've got the save, unfortunately. What? Have I just bamboozled myself there?
She's not going to unlock it, has she?
No, she's
No, she's run.
just made a mistake. Where's she gone? Blood? Hello, guys, really? You can go back down. Bill, come here, Bill. Oh, did you run into a trap? Sad times.
Guys, rule number 1. Do not heal under a hook. I had to say that slowly because I almost got so many words wrong in my rage.
Reblock this. No one's got the Meg up and she's not quite... Oh, I feel bad now. But
It's not your fault. They played dumb.
yeah.
Okay. Just, you know, give them a chance, just walk away.
Well, I did. I will.
Good.
Right, they seem to like this loot, so I'm going to block it. Put the thing down. Rescued.
Save.
Go on then, you can
Oh,
have her.
are
You
you?
can have her. You can have her. Go on. I'm going to take the Claudie.
Interesting.
Hello. Don't sandbag people, Claudie. Come on now.
Yeah, it really surprised me that she went in for that because she could see you coming.
Either that or she's blind.
Either that or she's got something like borrowed time. Has everyone had a hook now? No.
I'm not sure.
Bill,
Sporty
Meg,
Meg.
and Claudette.
Yeah, I don't think Sporty Meg's had a hook.
Sport Meg.
It's a rescue of Claudie.
Why do people keep touching your stuff?
I know, right? This is my priceless. Wait. Where are you? There you are. Your ears are so important as a killer. Could hear him moaning behind those tires.
And you don't realise how loud you are as a survivor because you can hear his terror radius. So you just don't realise how loud you're actually being.
Yeah, I could hear a female over here. I think it was Meg. Yeah, she's fucked off this way.
Touch the generator.
Oh dear.
Got caught in the trap.
Hello.
Trying to find my surprised face.
This one's dead on the hook, I think.
Ah, sad times.
And the Bill's been saved over there. You see, we're managing to keep that pressure up now. We've definitely got to go by the horns. Where are you?
It strikes me that people they're saving and then they're not going.
Really? Right in front of me? Are you serious?
I think as a killer you're good at not camping, but you will go back to the hook because you know that's where survivors will be. Like I personally, as soon as I'm saved, I'm like, right, let's get out of here because the killer's probably going to come back.
Well, yeah, that's because you know there's at least 2 survivors there, but you don't immediately tunnel down the one off the hook.
No, of course not.
Hey, man.
But it's just good sense. You know you've got, like you say, you know you've got at least 2 survivors in one place. You're going to go to that place.
Yeah, I always give them a chance to save, and I want to like not immediately remove someone from the game if I can help it, because it gives them a less fun experience. Are you really trying to infinite me? Because I will catch you. I'm faster than you.
Oh, there it is. Oh, she tried. Come on, Sport Meg.
Sport man.
Get your head in the game.
Nice and speedy with agitation there. Up on the hook you go. Where's 4th person? Times like this I wish I had barbecue and chili. But it's a bit too meta, it's a bit too easy.
Yeah, that's not what we were going for. We were going for trapper playstyle.
Indeed.
It was really interesting then watching you jump off the hill that you have affected Meg on, because obviously as a survivor, unless you've got balanced landing, you've got that cooldown, whereas you just don't have it as a killer, and it's really interesting from a survivor main point of view to see you go so quickly.
No loot for you, Claudie. Yeah, you don't get that stagger, and you can really use that to your advantage. Where did she go? She go this way, yes.
She's going looking for the hatch.
Yes. I can vault slightly quicker because of bamboozle. Haha. This one.
I wonder if she's seen it.
I don't think so. She doesn't appear to be running with a particular goal in mind.
No.
No, she's down now. And there we have it. Cheeky 4 kill. I don't even know where the hatch is. I haven't seen that either. Slam dunk! And that's a dead Claudette. We got some use out of bamboozle that game, and we definitely managed to use the trapper's kit to kind of shut off those loops.
Well, it was a 4 kill game, can't complain.
I don't think we lost the chase there. And we got a couple of free hooks out of the trapper's abilities, so
Yeah.
very nice.
Well played.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this Trapper Dead by Daylight character spotlight, and we'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the content, you know what to do.
Bye.